Hello everyone, welcome again to our tutorial class. My name still remains M.A. Ido. Now this time we are looking at African poetry. Again, we are discussing Nights by Wole Soyinka, a poem made up of 15 lines and of course 5 stanzas, in which each stanza is made up of 3 lines referred to as tercet or triplets in English literature. Now, the subject matter of the poem Night is actually the effect of night on man. That night has both positive and negative effects. The positive effect of night includes that when it's nightfall, we all have to have our rest. Okay, but when you look at the negative aspect, it is during the night that you see robbers and all manner of evils being perpetrated. Now, let's quickly check the summary of the poem before we look at some other things. Now, the poet says at the beginning that night is an intruder. It has a heavy hand upon one's brow. When it comes up, you have no choice than to sleep, which means the power of the night is not something that one can control. It's beyond the control of man. That is why at the beginning it says, night, your hand is upon my brow. Okay, now you check again as the poet progresses. He says that night is a jealous thing. What does that mean? Whenever night sees the day, it's always jealous. It has to come and then let the day go, because it always wants to be there for evil to be perpetrated, although it has its own positive effect, which is at that time you have no choice than to sleep and have your rest. And then night, the poet continues, is inevitable. You cannot prevent night from coming. It is always jealous of the day. Okay, when day is done with its activities, night comes to push it away because of some terrible things that are happening within the night. Now, the poet goes ahead to say, although night has a lot of negative qualities, it has no power, or nobody in fact has the power to put an end to night. We just have to pray that whenever night comes, we should be safe. So he says that night children shouldn't hurt anybody. So people should be hidden and forestalled or prevented from the evil machinations of men during the night. Hide me now when night children haunt the earth, so said the poet. So finally, the poet says night emphatically is made up of both good and evil. It shows that one cannot forestall evil or good from happening during the night. The only one we pray for is the good aspect. Alright, so in summary, night talks about both the positive and the negative effect of what nights. Alright, so in our next class, we are going to be looking at the themes and of course the literary devices that are embedded in the poem. Alright, welcome back again to real class. My name still remains M.A. Ido. Now this time we are looking at the poem Nights, written by Professor Wole Soyinka, a literary scholar that was born in the year 1934 in Abeokuta. Now away from there, let's look at the subject of discussion in the poem Nights. The poem Nights has its subject matter on the effects of night. When I mean effect, I mean both the positive and of course the negative effect of night. When night comes, we have no choice than to sleep and have our rest. That is the positive aspect of night. Now, but during this night, there are a whole lot of evils that come along with it. We have robbery, we have all forms of, or all manner of, evil machinations carried out by, those who are into them. Now, the summary of the poem, let's quickly look at it before we talk about some other things. At the beginning, the poet says, night is an intruder. It comes from nowhere and then takes over the entire world. And you have no choice than to obey it. You cannot forestall or prevent it. You just have to succumb to it. It comes with all manner of what? Evil perpetrated by men. Now, the poet continues by saying that night is jealous of the day. Day is always celebrated by all and sundry, by everybody. But night is jealous of that fact. It comes and pushes the day away so that, all manner of evils can come up with it. Alright? Then he continues that regardless of the fact that night goes with a lot of evil machinations carried out by men, it is inevitable. We can't do without night. Night is something that must come. We must, however, pray for protection. Alright? Because we have no choice than to surrender to night. Nobody can stop night. Alright? Then he ends the poem by letting us know that night emphatically is made up of both evil and good. However, we should continue to pray for protection. Alright? So the poem, technically speaking, by structure, is made up of 15 lines and then 5 stanzas. Each of the stanzas is written in 3 lines. We refer to as triplet or tercet in English literature. So, the poem, by way of subject matter, talks about the positive and negative effect of night. So in our next class, we are going to be looking at the themes and, of course, the figurative devices deployed by the writer. Alright, we are still looking at the poem Night, and this time we are looking at both the themes and, of course, the literary devices. As we all know that themes are universal ideas explored in the literary work. These are the ideas explored that we are going to decipher. Fear of the unknown. Alright, when night approaches, you never can tell what is going to happen to you. Alright, that is the fear expressed in the poem by the writer. Then plea for protection. The writer appeals to night that he should be protected when night falls. Alright, that is why he says, hide me now when night children hound the earth. And the night children refers to the armed robbers, okay, by way of metaphoric expression. Submission to the night. Alright, yes, night, of course, is inevitable according to the speaker. Okay, so there is nothing anybody can do to forestall or prevent night from coming. He therefore appeals for protection, as he says, hide me now when night children hound the earth, as the robbers. Then inevitability of what? Night. Night is inevitable. It is not something that we can stop from occurring. It is jealous. Whenever it comes, it allows the day to disappear, and it finds its way to the world to take over, where all manner of things happen, both the good and the evil. Then away from there, we talk about the literary devices, otherwise called the artistic devices used in the poem. We have personification, which is the giving out of human qualities to inanimate. Don't forget the word personification is from the word person. What is not a person is made to behave like a person, so it is personified. Your hand is heavy. They are referring to night as having hand, as though human. Night, you are upon my brow, as if night deliberately is coming, okay, to meet it as though it were human. Then we talk about simile, alright? What's simile? The use of as or like to draw comparison between things that are unlike or dissimilar. I bear no heart mercuric like the cloud. You have the hearts and clouds. They are what? They are compared there, and they are dissimilar. That shows us simile. Then we have alliteration too. What's alliteration? When you repeat the same consonant sound at the beginning of words within a poetic line, have alliteration. Here, your hand is heavy. That's, H in both hands and heavy gives us alliteration, alright? And again, don't forget, your hand is heavy is also a form of apostrophe because they are talking to the night directly, okay, as though listening. Your hand is heavy. Then blood and brine too, BB at the beginning shows us alliteration. Then sensation, silence, SS also gives us alliteration there. Then we look at the poem, imagery. What kind of imagery is used in the poem? It is visual, and the imagery presented in the poem shows us, fear, apprehension, alright, that goes with what? Night. One is always scared whenever night approaches because of all manner of evils associated with it. Then we talk about metaphor. What's metaphor? Metaphor is an indirect comparison in which, you know, one thing is used to replace another. Night children here has been used to replace the robbers in the night that carry out their evil practices against man. Now we talk about the mood. What's mood? The general feeling of the writer. One mood is here, the mood of meditation. Of course, the speaker begins to meditate on night and the effect it has on man, alright, as a jealous thing that comes and kicks the day away, paving way for all manner of evil. Now, tune. The tune is one of apprehension, so it is apprehensive. Okay, it creates fear when night approaches. Alright, so that's that. In our next class, we are going to be looking at another poem.